Hey, everybody, we are back with the most boring recap of the Portland real estate market that you could find on the internet. My name's David Caldwell. I'm with Katie Henderson. We are with Hillshire Realty Group at eXp Realty. And what we do with this conversation is we talk about what's going on in the Portland housing market, pricing, active listings, pending sales, closed listings, what we're seeing with trends, what it means if you're a buyer, what does the market mean if you're a seller, and just some general observations we have from working with clients who have successfully navigated the market and that are currently navigating the market. So let's get into it. I was waiting for you to say something. Nothing?
Yeah, ready. Go.
Okay. Hey, the most important thing, right? What people really want to know is what's happening with pricing. Now, there's two things that are happening with pricing. If we look in the last 12 months, year over year, the average sales price has increased by 4.3%, at $607,500 versus $582,400. The median sales price in the same time period has increased by 5%, 545 versus 519,000. But why do we say that there's two things happening? Because when we look year to date, the average sales price has increased 4.6%. So Q1 versus 2022 versus Q1 2023, we've seen the average sales price decline. Thoughts on that, Katie?
Um, yeah, I think that's true. And it's just kind of this period of adjustment for everybody to kind of shift, refocus. So it feels a little harsher perhaps than it is, but really it's just a correction, I feel like.
Yeah, and let's talk about another thing there, right? It doesn't mean that every home value has come down by that percent or gone up in the last 12 months by that percent. Different price points, different marketplaces perform differently. Your home is individually unique. The circumstances of every sale are also unique. One of the things that we have to keep in mind when you're looking at, pricing outlook, how many buyers are buying in specific price points? How many homes are coming for sale in specific price points? In the Portland metro area, we're seeing more affordable homes come to the market versus some of the more expensive homes, which is creating some of that downward pressure on the average price. The big challenge in the real estate market right now, and we'll talk about it in with active listings, is that about 85% of homeowners in the United States have an interest rate of 5% or less. And that's keeping a lot of people from coming to the market with maybe that six, seven, $800,000 home where they'd be moving into $1 million plus home. So there's some interesting things happening. I always zoom out. In the last 12 months, the average sales price is up 5%. We did expect this year for the average rate of appreciation to slow. In the last 27 years of 31, we've seen home price appreciation in the Portland metro area. Could this be one of those outlier years where values come down? It's hard to say. So if we get into active listings, we'll talk about that a little bit more. But when we look year to date, there have been 6,389 new listings come to the market in Portland. And that represents more than a 30-year low of new listings. What's interesting is, like, if you're a home buyer and you're shopping, the supply of homes, the number of homes to see, it feels a little bit like 2020 and 2021. Like there aren't a lot of options, but the pace of the market has slowed down. If you're a buyer in this situation, okay, let's talk about buyers specifically when it comes to active listings and shopping, because I know that you're out actively shopping with buyers right now.
Just speaking to my experience,
Yeah.
I have a list of buyers in my CRM, of course, that I have alerts set up for on their end, down on my end, so I'm seeing what they're seeing. And I like to send things their way. Maybe it might be out of the area that they were hoping for, just to kind of open their minds a little bit. But some days I'm like, I just don't have anything to send them. And that's the message I come to them with. Hey, thinking about you. hope all is well. Looked for listings for your family today. Unfortunately, there's nothing that's going to meet your needs right now, but we're going to continue our search. And that's just what I have to come to them with sometimes. Some days I just don't have anything to offer them, and that's not a good feeling, but that's just the case that we're in. But I think that's what makes preparing yourself for the buying process so important, so that when that right property does become available, you're ready to act. You're not waiting for a pre-approval. You're not waiting for that conversation with a lender. You're prepared. You're ready to go.
Yeah. If you're someone who's never bought a home or you're someone who hasn't bought a home for a while, I've been helping people buy and sell real estate every day for like 15 years. And that's normal. What Katie just said is normal. There is not always available product that you like. There aren't always homes for sale that you love. Sometimes you have to go a little bit further or look at maybe a different city or subdivision than you wanted to look at. Sometimes you have to be patient. Sometimes, that right home for you doesn't come on the market immediately. It is so important to be prepared because oftentimes when the right property comes up in a marketplace like we're in today, which is a low inventory market, there's another person that property is also right for. And I know, Katie, that you've shared this experience is that occasionally there'll be one house that comes up and it's right for two or three of our clients. We're showing a property on Sunday, and I didn't even told you this. I sent it to one of my other clients that I thought it could be a match for. It wasn't quite a match for him, which was a relief, right? But when a great property comes up, oftentimes there's multiple buyers for it. So it really it really pays to be prepared. If we go to active listings, right? A lot of people right now are going, well, we have a low inventory market. There's tons of price reductions. Price reductions are normal in every marketplace because no one can price a home with 100% certainty around getting that price. Some sellers are really ambitious. Some sellers underprice. Sometimes as a real estate agent, seller, you put a property on the market, you let the market get a sense of it, and it just doesn't work. And you have to adjust the price. It's nearly impossible to be 100% accurate all the time. If you watching this video or Katie and I had the ability to do that, we wouldn't be making this video. You wouldn't be watching it. We'd be on a beach somewhere. We'd be drinking margaritas because we'd have so much money because we guessed right every time.
Yeah, and I think too the important thing to understand about price reductions, especially right now, is don't assume when you see a price reduction that you're getting a deal, and you should swoop in, do some digging, talk to your agent. There could be a lot of reasons why you're seeing price reductions. Maybe the property was priced too high to begin with. Maybe the property was under contract and some inspection revealed some costly issues. The property goes back on the market at a lower price. Maybe the sellers are super motivated. You don't know. So when you see price reductions, which you will increasingly, maybe that's a good time to talk to your agent. Shoot them a text and be like, "Hey, I saw this property had a $15,000 price drop. What's that about?" And the story is different every time.
Yeah. So let's break that down even further, right? For someone with experience in the market, there's a property that I just recently, or it closes next week in Sherwood, that I represented a buyer on. You had taken a buyer previously to that property. I remember you telling me he needs to buy this. This is such a good deal. And he wouldn't buy it because it kind of had a stigma because it had a sale fail too, actually, around repairs. This
Yeah.
property had come to the market more than 6 months before, and it was priced at 600,000. My client's buying it around 520,000, and it appraised around 540,000. By percentage wise, she got a deal. She had a really good buying experience. Is the property perfect for her? No. But we believe we're walking into that home in an equity position, and that position was available because the seller had overpriced it, because there was a price reduction and there was a stigma. That time on market was not the friend of that seller, but it was the friend of my buyer. So if you're a buyer in the market and you're a deal shopper, you should email Katie or I, Katie at hillshirerealtygroup.com or David at hillshirerealtygroup.com, and maybe we could put a list together for you of some homes that we think might be ripe to go in and propose an even better deal than where they're already priced because their days on market are hurting them.
Yeah, And I feel like I have a pretty good sense of almost right away when I dig into the MLS or my client texts me a property, I'm like, I can pretty much look at them pretty quickly and get a good idea of if that particular client is going to have a shot at this property or if we're going to be climbing an uphill battle. Every situation is different, and it's those little nuanced components about each property that can generate different outcomes, but they're all so different. I think that's why it's so key to talk to an agent early when you see a property that catches your eye.
Yep. All right, let's move on to pending sales. With lower new listings, we are going to see lower pending sales. There were in year to date, the Portland housing market has seen 5,358 pending sales, which is a 30% decrease over the same time last year. So we've had a 25% decrease in new listings and a 30% decrease in pending sales. Now, I went through and I did some math. And if you look at the best housing market we ever had, 2021, the difference between how many homes had listed for sale that entire year to went pending, there was a 10% difference. In 2018, which is a relatively normal year for the Portland housing market, there was 5.5% appreciation that year. The difference between homes listed for sale and pending, there was a 26.5% difference. And if we look year to date, the number of homes that have listed for sale versus have gone pending, there's a 16% difference. So if you're a seller, why is that number important? Because that's your probability of success. You know, a lot of home sellers right now, they want to wait till the market corrects. But none of us have a crystal ball. We don't know when that's going to be. You know, I like to define the success of a real estate market based on the probability of sale, because not 100% of homes sell. There's never been a market where that's occurred. And when we have high average sales price, and then when the move works for you, right? Where are you going? What's that transition look like? Do I delay my life to try to get an extra 10 or 15 grand? Or do I just make the move, right? Can I transfer my equity, and what does that look like? The probability of success for a seller right now is really high. If you're a buyer, there are price points and there are low days on market homes in pretty much all price points where it is exceedingly competitive and it's difficult. We're back to this marketplace of low supply. And because the supply is low, even with lower demand from what we're used to having, if you look at pending sales, it's still created a competitive environment. And that's keeping pricing where it's at. You know, Katie, you recently have put a couple buyers in contract. Have those all been multiple offer situations? I know one in particular, there were some competitive situations he lost out on, and then maybe the one he got in, he was not competitive.
So buyer A, actually, this is like an interesting topic. Maybe we do like a different call on this. But it ended up being a new construction opportunity in a little further out area where there weren't maybe as many buyers. The cost to buy was a little bit lower, but the builder was local, excellent, worked with us, and got us a great rate buy down. So my clients got in at a great rate, under 6. So they had an excellent experience. We did have to do a contingent offer, but everything came together seamlessly, so all went well there. And then the other buyer have closing pretty soon. I think we ended up being the only offer because we came in quickly and pretty aggressively. But I think if we had, waited to try to time it out and see what other offers rolled in, that could have really been our demise. But I think because we knew it was a hot property and was probably going to sell relatively quickly, my buyer was ready to act.
Yeah, good. So, I think like the reason I asked about that, right, was like, where are opportunities for buyers and how difficult is it? Because a lot of people are imagining this really difficult market, either because of rates and or because of the competitiveness that's keeping them out of the market. There is a lot of new construction. We can help you guys buy new construction. You still deserve an advocate inside that transaction to represent your needs, even though you might think you don't need one. But it still does behoove you we've looked at studies in the past where when you buy directly from the builder versus when you have an advocate, you just see a better deal with the advocate generally. Like that
Yeah,
shows up in
and
MLS data.
yeah, and just because it's new construction, don't expect this super easy, dreamy experience. Like you're still gonna have to do a home inspection. You're still gonna have an appraisal. Are you
Yep.
comfortable navigating those contingencies on your own without representation? Maybe it's going to be better for you to contact an agent. Luckily, these clients contacted me first before we went to go ahead and look at the property, and there were some hiccups by no fault of the builder or whatever, just normal things that go on in transactions that I was grateful to be able to help them navigate and successfully get us to closing. They're signing today.
Yeah, and there's some people that like watch videos like this and leave comments like, "You guys are the ultimate middlemen, and we don't need you," and yada yada yada. Death to the realtor.
Well,
Our
my
job
clients
exists.
are happy.
Yeah, our clients are happy, but our job exists. Like there is an industry of real estate professionals because these are challenging and emotionally complex transactions. And if there were not problems, there actually would not be a need for us. But because there are problems in these transactions and you need an advocate who's been there before to help you through them, it actually saves you money, time, and stress. That is why we have a profession. And I'm not saying everyone has that skill set to help you through that, but I believe that at my core from helping so many people through these transactions, and we can't fix everything, but having someone who's been there before definitely helps reduce downside on both finances and the stressful components. So let's go to close sales. So year to date in the Portland metro area, there have been 4,340 closed sales, a 33.9% decline over the same time last year. During that time period, the average sales price of a home was $567,100. So we are seeing more of, it's hard to say now that that's like a first time home buyer type of a product or a more affordable product, but that is the price point in Portland that you see, a more entry level home selling for. The average sales price in Lake Oswego is still over $1 million. The average sales price in Tigard is still over $600,000. The average sales price in Sherwood is still over $700,000. But the Portland metro area, we're in that mid $500,000 price point. So if you're a seller and you think your home is worth somewhere between $400,000 and $600,000, and you're in a financial position where it makes sense for you to upgrade into a more expensive home, it's more competitive in that price point. There's more multiple offer situations. It's more of a extreme seller's market. If you sell between 400 and 600, and then you go buy 800, 850, 900 as an example, that's a really good trade. And if you're someone who's watching this video and you fall into that bucket, it might be worthwhile to have a quick conversation about what's happening in the market, what the recent sales in your neighborhood have done, and how it impacts the value of your home. And that's a question we'd be happy to answer for you. So let's do a little recap, Katie, because we're at 18 minutes, and anyone who's still watching this is a trooper. So if you had to give one message to a buyer thinking about entering the housing market, going into the spring and summer market, what would that message be? One message.
Arm yourself with information. The more information you have, the better. That means talking to your agent, going in a deep dive conversation, having a heart to heart with your lender. You need to know what you have working for you, what your position is, what you can afford, so you're not blindsided anywhere throughout the process. So talk to your agent and your lender super early.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm gonna echo information. Be pre-approved. Know what you want to spend on a house, regardless of what you can qualify for. Right? It's important to know where you are, qualification wise and payment wise when you're shopping. Two, you really need to be educated on what's actually happening in the market because different zip codes, different cities, different areas are performing different There are some areas you might want to avoid buying, or there might be some areas and price points where the market's more susceptible to decline. And then there's areas where the market's more likely to accelerate. And that data is not difficult to find, but you need to make sure that you have it. How about sellers? Oh, go ahead, Katie.
I was going to say the national news is not your best source of information on your hyper local market. So, any
Totally.
headlines you're reading or watching on a national scale are not going to be representative of what's happening for you in your hometown. And that message goes for buyers and sellers.
Yep. So
And
let's go to seller.
sellers,
Give me a seller specific message.
seller specific message. Now is the time. Get ready. There's ready, willing, and able buyers out there. Your open houses will be busy. If you're priced right, if you're positioned well in the market, your house will sell.
Yeah. My message to sellers is this. It may or may not be the right time to sell based on your goals. But you would not know that unless you have someone come over and talk to you about the market and the market outlook. You know, there's this thing in real estate that it's always the right time to buy, it's always the right time to sell. It's not. Sometimes it just is not. Sometimes it behooves you to wait a month or 2 months or 3 months. Sometimes you need to let that really bad comp season and go away. It depends on what your goals are. When people call us, generally it's 60 days before they want to make a move, or worst case, like a month. And we're happy to deal with that. We can handle that. But it's going to be a better transaction for you if you call us, 6 months, a year, 18 months. And all the studies actually show that most people who sell, they're thinking about it 2 years in advance. That process starts really far in advance. If you're thinking about selling in 2024, 2025, 2026, we are happy to keep you updated on the market. We're happy to tell you if you should pause things. We're happy to tell you if you should move things forward. This is an advisory business, and doing this since 2007 in crazy markets and the 4 bad years that we've had in the last 31 years is where I cut my teeth selling real estate. You recognize that there isn't a stock answer for every situation, that people's scenarios are different, and we just love to talk to you about that and earn the place as not just a real estate agent, but as an advisor around your real estate holdings. Katie, how do they get in touch with you?
You can email me at katie@hillshirerealtygroup.com or give me a follow on Instagram, Katie Henderson PDF.
And if you guys have any questions for me, David at hillshirerealtygroup.com. Our information will be in the description box below. If you stick around this whole time, please just subscribe and like this video so you can see us next time. We do this video every month. I think with the exception, we've missed a couple. But we try really hard to make sure that we put out really quality education on the market, a little bit of opinions, a lot of facts. Keep in mind that your market, your house, your asset is unique, and we would be happy to give you more information on your home. So, see you next time.